What's going on, guys? No Guys here. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we're going to go over the 4-3-3 tactics. Now, 4-3-3 defend, it's not really used as much, but to be honest, it used to be my very defensive formation. But for those of you that want to play in a 4-3-3, but you don't want to, for example, worry about, I've got no CDMs, or maybe that you only have no CDMs at all, or only even having one CDM. We know these are the problems, especially if you go to a 4-3-3 holding, that you may struggle. But the good thing is with the 4-3-3 like this, it can be a very, very good formation. Now, I'm going to go over the tactics as well. So first of all, for the winger, you want to go with inside forward. I think for both the wingers, inside forward is really the one to go with. We're going to come back to this one in a second on why this is on roaming. But inside forward, we know how bad AI movement is in this game. With roles worked correctly, but I'll be honest, the biggest notices are big of kind of movement, AI movement, I would say, are poacher and inside forward roaming. I think the way this player picks up into these pockets when you're attacking, especially of the plus variation, there is a big difference. So that's very, very important. For the striker, because it is a sole striker, we've gone with advanced forward. You don't, especially in a 4-3-3, you don't want to experiment with a false 9. You might be thinking, oh, let me try to replicate Barcelona back in those days. But the truth is, with AI movement, you need this player to be making those runs. They're behind, they can do a bit of everything. So advanced forward will kind of be the balance where they make those runs in behind, but they also come deep. Very rarely, but they come deep, as in, I'm not talking about as in so close to the center mids. I'm saying they just kind of stand up straight where you can pass the ball to the striker, get the ball to their feet, then turn, then take a shot. Maybe deep wasn't the correct words to use there. But personally speaking, I don't put them on complete. I put them on attacking, so they stay in the middle and they still make runs in behind. Now for the cam, this is one of the most important things, the playmaker plus on attack. Do not put roaming, otherwise they're going to be all over the place. You don't want that, although that sounds like a very good thing, you don't want that because you want your cam to be just behind your strikers in front of your center mids so you can link up the play together. You never want, sometimes if you have the ball and you're building up with your right back and the right back's going forward, do you want your center mid to be helping? No, you don't. So that's why I put roaming on playmaker, attack. And don't forget, it's a center mid, not a cam. So as it is, there's going to be quite a gap between these two players. That's why I didn't put the striker on poacher. Now for both the CDMs, you got them both on holding, CDM, defend. This will give you the best balance. Look, if you're really struggling, this one, the few formations where you're going to be fine. Look, technically speaking, you could, like, let's say you wanted to make this player, like, you know, defensive. I'm not going to say defensive per se. Why playmaker? I don't like using. I know people like the positioning of it. But winger would be the best one on balanced. At least this way, they're not so far forward, but they can come back and help you defend. But I feel like with a 4-3-3, you need to have those attacking threats. So the good thing with two CDMs is you have balance of two players being on stay back. That way, if you get countered, you could struggle. Now, what that means is when you're in possession of the ball, it can sometimes be a bit boring. You have one striker by itself, a sole striker. You don't have a cam, you got a center mid. So you're very much relying on build-up play. And that is where you'd want to add a fullback in. Now, there's three. One way of doing this is putting both of these players on wing backs. I mean, you don't even need the code because you can just use the original code and change it yourself. But the good thing with this is that you basically have two players at the back. You got the CDMs, and then you kind of got the extension of the wing backs. They basically go up and down the entire pitch. They provide a support, provide the width. And the good thing is the inside forwards, they go forward. So basically, when you're attacking, realistically, is going to be something like this. And these players go eternally, especially this player on the right-hand side, the roaming, but we'll come back to that in a second. Do you want to get better at FC 25? Now, before you skip ahead, what if I told you if you join my FC school and you didn't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money? I can say this because I've been running my FC school for many years and thousands of students join and even stay on. We go over complete in-depth gameplay tutorials showing you both the theory of something and the gameplay examples using real-life examples in a structured format that's like a course. The videos on a systematic learning system teaching you everything from the core mechanics, the basics to the meta so you can get better as a whole with explanations that go beyond the scope of my YouTube channel. FC School has already started with every single tactical layout, focuses, meta cards, and learn the meta before it even becomes the meta. So come join thousands of others in a mature audience community for those looking to get better at FC25, patreon.com/nilguides, or click the link down below. Now, when you join, we already have a library of hundreds of videos, more than my YouTube channel, in fact, with new videos on FC25 getting constantly added so you'll never run out of content. The biggest mistake people do is they spend thousands of dollars on FP points every year thinking this will make them better, but it won't. But now it's time for you to make that change. Don't forget, if you don't get better after 1 month, just send me a message and I'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guides guarantee. Links down below in the description, patreon.com/nilguides. To attacking, you can just do this. You could put one of them on, for example, attacking wing back. Ideally, someone like Batcher. But in this example, we're going to put Kadioglu. You might be thinking, well, why have I put Kadioglu here? Well, it's because we've got Dembele's inside forward. This is what's very important, okay? Now, when you lose possession of the ball, you're going to be exploited down the side. That is why to counter it, you put Batcher on fullback defense. So at least you got a back three. This is kind of similar to how real teams play. You know, you see 2 at the back and 3 in midfield, or 3 at the back and 2 in midfield in real life teams. But the key thing is this attacker wing back is going to provide the width and the inside forward on roaming. This is what's key. The reason why I like the AI with roaming is, especially with the plus, this player finds those pockets of space and picks them up. And I feel like that movement you can't replicate with an L1 trigger. Maybe the player lock you can do manually, but you can't replicate those things. And that's one of the few things that AI does well, if any does any good at all. But it's one of the few situations where it does do well. So if you're asking me personally speaking, I would go something like this. Now, had, for example, Dembele had the ability to play as a left wing, I'll definitely go with Batcher attacking wing back, for example, like that. But that is, you can't have 2, that's 2 attacking. So what I'd recommend is, as I said here, I put Dembele as an example inside forward roaming, and I've got Kadioglu on join attack. At least this way you have a bit more of an attacking presence. Otherwise, if you think of this like from an attacking stance, can you imagine having no cam? Then if you're up, and this is why I say 4-3-3 is one of those formations, you either have to be a top tier player to play it. But if you're, for example, let's say around division, I would say division 3 to division 1, this is where you will struggle with the 4-3-3, because what it is that it will rely heavily on you to do 1-2s, intricate plays, be very, very patient with the ball. And because you have 2 CDMs, you can afford to push a player going forward. And that is why I put one of those players on attacking wing back. If you feel very, very comfortable, you could even put, for example, a wing back, just a wing back on balance. But I think you will know that yourself. And I have to be, as I said, like even with the formation that I released a few days ago, people complain that it's too attacking because they don't listen. They just go, oh, no, let me just copy the first code in first 5 seconds, and suddenly I think I'm text. When that's not the case, you have to understand. And that is why I say you can go with something like this. Alternatively, one thing for the higher level, what you can do is you can put center half. And then what you could do, for example, is have both of these players. Now, this is more of an experimental thing, but you could do something like this. And then you have 3 players at the back. You've got 1 CDM, 1 centre mid, but then you have the 5 players on the attack. And with the attacking wing back, they're going to surge forward as soon as you win the ball. And that is what's very, very important. Now, as I said, I wouldn't really recommend that, though. Let's just put these players. You could do a false back if you want to. But let's put something like this. And again, you could even do something like this. So you could put 1 of the CDMs to drop in. So I've got, for example, like Tonali. And that way you could also be safe and keep 4 players in the back. As long as your right centre back is someone like Van der Ven, Koundé, that's got very, very good sprint speed and that can recover. That's something I just wanted to mention. But again, I would probably do it like this. And the reason why I say it like this as well is because you have then 2 CDMs for stability. And then you can also rotate the ball between the 2 CDMs and the centre mid. If you want to, you can even consider something like a deep lying playmaker. That could be another option. But I think for most players, if you're talking about a structured system, go with something like this with the attacking wing back, providing the width that way, then have the inside forward on roaming. If you get roaming, inside forward roaming plus, that's completely fine. Keep the back 3 so you won't get counter-attacked, and you've got 2 CDMs for stability. And then if you want to make this more attacking, you can do it in my recommendations. Now, in terms of tactics, look, because you have 2 CDMs, I think you can afford to be a bit more aggressive and go for a higher depth. Of course, don't forget, you could even, when I was testing this actually, I was going towards 65. But when I release tactic, again, because everyone just copies the tactics and doesn't listen, it might be a bit too aggressive, but you can go to 65, even 70, if you have that ability that okay, if I get counter-attacked, you can do. And you would know that yourself. You would watch here and you would know, like, if you concede 1 or 2 goals from a counter attack in a weekend league, okay, that's fine. Even up to 5 goals, let's say over the space of 20 games. But if you're conceding every single game from a counter attack, then that's a clear example when you should drop the depth, especially to the balance region. If you can go to like 59, 55 is kind of the common point that I always start with. And in the build-up style, now what I would say is, look, if you have the right back on stay back, maybe use balanced. And the reason why balanced is good is because psychologically it makes you play slower. With counter, players just make those runs rapidly and then they go forward. It can help, especially if you've got the right back joining the attack, because counter can help them make the runs. And also helps players make runs going forward so you can capitalize on the play. But balance basically inadvertently forces you to play slowly because the players are not making runs in behind. You got to trigger the runs manually, but that is where the key with the formation is. The key with the formation is in midfield. And then you're but with the attacking wing back, you have that, okay, I can play the midfield area, but I've also got someone on the wing side. You can think of this literally almost identical to a 4-2-1-3. We got the left wing and the right wing. They get very, very similar. The only difference is instead of a cam, you have a center mid. So if you really like that formation and you're like, you know what, I wish it was a bit more defensive, then this could be actually a solution. So this is actually a halfway between going gung-ho, but instead of that cam, you have that center mid being a bit more conservative. But those would be a tactic. This would be the exact code that I suggest right here. If you really, really want to use the system that I laid out, and I said, make the changes whatever you feel best. And let me know what you want to see tomorrow. Maybe I might do a 4-3-3, some sort of different variations of the 4-2-1-3 and stuff like that for tomorrow's tactics video. I know you guys are really, really liking a different system formats. Don't forget my website has all the codes as usual. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy and I'll catch you next time. Peace out. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. And don't forget, if you want to get better at FC, come to my Patreon series. We are still releasing videos. We're actually releasing final third videos. How to take a chance on a final third, L1 triggers, player locks, what do the pros do, pros analysis, everything. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. So no guys, guarantee. Thanks for watching. Take it easy and I'll catch you next time. Peace out, guys.